This is the Big 12 on ESPN. An electric night here in Waco, Texas, and Lauren Sisler is in the middle of it all.
The energy is electric, and you know, Utah quarterback Devin Dampier relishes in this, and really he's been the reason that this Utah journey has been what it has been. The climb, the resilience, and really never counted out. And you know, I asked him what is his why? Why does he have that heartbeat every single day? And he points to his brother Dominic. His brother Dominic was diagnosed with autism at 18 months old, didn't speak until he was 7, and Devin watched him overcome every barrier that people said would hold him back. This year, though, Dominic even setting a receiving record at his high school in Arizona. Devin said, Dominic is the energy of our family. Every time I touch the field, I play for him, and now he's trying to lead Utah to do exactly what his brother has done his entire life, overcome every expectation.
He's going to have to wait a moment to get the rock. Utah won the toss. They have elected to kick and let the defense go to work. Mid-November, this is when the difficulty level cranks up. Utah, with only 2 November road wins in the past 4 seasons, well, the road to the CFP end here tonight in Waco.
ESPN College Football Primetime is presented by Geico. It feels good to Geico.
This is the third all-time matchup between Baylor and Utah. Faced off in the previous 2 seasons. This is technically the first conference matchup between the 2 teams. And Kyle Whittingham has done a fantastic job. Season number 21, only Kirk Ferentz has been at his current school longer. Whittingham did some soul-searching in the offseason. Got a 2-for-1 with the new OC, Jason Beck, and his quarterback that followed from New Mexico, Devin Dampier. This will be drive number 3 for Devin Dampier, the man with the number 1 QBR in the Big 12, trying to get this Utes offense going. Quite a turnaround for the Utah Utes, 5-7 a season ago, but now different squad. Top 10 nationally in scoring offense and defense. Made the right hire with Jason Beck from UNM, and the total offense and defense, when we're talking about yards allowed and gain, both of those in the top 20, and they're blowing out opponents, winning by an average of 36.4 points per game, number 1 in the FBS. But in a battle here, no score. That one's into the end zone. It's a perfect time to catch up with Kevin Connors.
All right, Lowell, time for the AT&T countdown to the CFP National Championship. Ole Miss off to its best start since 1962, but this is DJ Lagway.
Yeah, Lagway's looked good throwing the ball and running the ball early in this game. He'll need to because Ole Miss can score.
Trevor, first play after the touchdown, that's Jaden Woods.
And it was an uncharacteristic mistake by Chambliss. Threw it right at the defender.
Gators knocking at the door, Lowell, down 3.
Coach Whittingham, slow to put points on the board, but things have changed there that last part of the quarter. What's working well for your team right now?
Well, starting to run the ball a little more downhill instead of laterally. That's helped out. And then obviously the pick 6 was a huge play. Great job by Scooby. And yeah, we just got to keep in rhythm offensively and keep the deep balls under control with our defense.
Thanks, Coach.
Okay.
This was moments ago, the Baylor mascot with a sign that said, "Birds aren't real," but we're here to tell you that Utah will counter that with their freshman from Oklahoma, Bert Figlin.
Lowell, your Chick-fil-A move on the field. Georgia beat Texas twice last season. They're up on them right now. Gunner stuck into Noah Thomas.
And this was a dart. There was a conflict. The defender wasn't sure which guy to cover, and Gunner threw it right past him.
Dogs on top, Lowell, 7-3 on ABC.
It's win and you're in. Look at him go. And he did not get there. The Big 12 championship.
Playing for the right to get there, Texas Tech is the leader at 7-1. Utah's rival BYU at 5-1, and then multiple teams with 2 losses: Houston, Arizona State, Cincinnati, and Utah.
All right, Lowell, your Capital One rewarding performance turned in by DJ Lagway, who's run for a touchdown and thrown for one here to J. Michael Sturdivant.
Yeah, it looked like Florida was in trouble. They fell behind early 10-0 and then ripped off 3 touchdowns.
This has been a Hagler-Hearns matchup. Lowell 21-17, still in the second. The Twisted Tea halftime report is on the way. Coming up, we will look back at the comeback of the college football season. Plus, how do we look at Alabama now after today's loss to Oklahoma? And how do we look at Texas Tech after their big win today? Lowell coming up when you join me and Trevor Matich.
Well, it was a slow start to this game, and it got interesting real quick. Utah with 3 touchdowns of at least 60 yards in the first half. 2 touchdown runs, and one of those a pick 6.
Yeah, it was a little bit of a slow start for both teams, but a lot of explosive plays there in the second quarter, and it's going to be a great second half.
Here's Lawrence Sisler.
Coach, down 18, you bring it to 11 with that Josh Cameron touchdown, a big spark there. How do you carry that into the second half?
We're moving the ball. We have to be more efficient when we get into the red zone. And we need touchdowns and not field goals. And then defensively, there's 244 yards given up on really, 2 plays. And so we got to be more consistent. Their offense takes all 11 to defend it. So we got to get all 11 in the right spots.
Thanks so much, Coach.
Baylor really playing for pride, trying to knock Utah out of the CFP race. It's 28-17 Utes with the lead. Kevin, all you.
Lowell, my kind of game. 606 total yards of offense in that first half. The Twisted Tea halftime report. First ever meeting between Texas and Georgia in Athens, and Trevor Matich. So much talk about Arch Manning. Gunnar Stockton's been the guy in the first half.
Yeah, both of these secondaries have been vulnerable, and both quarterbacks have taken advantage of it. Stockton's been great throwing those intermediate throws.
How about this one to Noah Thomas?
Yeah, this was just a dart on the move. The defender wasn't quite sure where the ball was, and it came so fast he couldn't find it.
And then that combination one more time, giving the Dogs a 14-3 lead. A Texas loss drops their playoff chances to 23%. Meantime, DJ Lagway and Florida taking on Ole Miss off to their best start since the 60s. How about Trinidad Chambliss finding Dejon Stribling?
Yeah, it looked like Ole Miss was going to run away with it up 10-0. Then Florida stormed back, and Trinidad Chambliss wouldn't let Florida get up on top.
Well, you talked about the Gators storming back. Here's DJ Lagway to J. Michael Sturdivant.
Right, and then Florida came back. What happened was Florida ripped off 3 straight touchdowns in order to take that lead back.
24-20, Gators thinking upset in Oxford. Meantime, Oklahoma and Alabama. Trevor, the Tide, just too many self-inflicted wounds.
3 turnovers by Alabama led to 12 points in a game that was decided on the just razor's edge.
Meantime, John Mateer, Heisman candidate early. He had the hand surgery. He's become a running quarterback.
Right, and he breaks 5 tackles here. This is after that fumbled punt by Alabama. It led to this touchdown.
Closing minute of the third quarter, Ty Simpson back to pass. Taylor Wine forcing the fumble. It's recovered by the Sooners. They would turn that into a field goal. And then under a minute to go, Simpson, it's broken up.
Simpson had to carry this game. Alabama could not run against that Oklahoma front. And it was the turnovers and the points off turnovers that gave Oklahoma the win.
23-21, your final score. Despite the loss, Alabama's playoff odds, according to the All-State playoff predictor, still at a firm 94%, with Eastern Illinois and Auburn still to go here in the regular season. Twisted Tea halftime report. BYU Hall of Famer and national champion Trevor Matich. Kevin Connors here with you. With the loss, how does that impact how you feel about Alabama?
It doesn't help, because Alabama still wasn't able to run the ball well. I get it that Oklahoma is one of the best running defenses in the nation. But if Alabama wants to get to the playoff and make noise in the playoff, they'll be facing other top rushing defenses. And all year long, the Tide has not been able to run the ball. They have put the pressure on their quarterback, Ty Simpson, to win. And the problem there is that you get a defense like Oklahoma's that also excels at pressuring the quarterback. They'll just play the run on the way to the quarterback. And if Simpson isn't on fire, Alabama's in trouble.
They have the Week 1 loss to Florida State, the loss to Oklahoma today, snapping an 8-game win streak for Alabama. We're just getting warmed up here on the Twisted Tea halftime report. When we come back, Texas A&M snapping a 268-game streak. You will see it next.
This halftime report is presented by the refreshing taste of Twisted Tea Hard Iced Tea. Keep it twisted, and please drink responsibly. Welcome back to the Twisted Tea Halftime Report.
With Trevor Matich, Kevin Connors, Texas A&M trying to get to 10-0 for the first time since Johnny Manziel's Heisman-winning season. Trevor, what a start by the Gamecocks. This is Vakari Swain.
Yeah, the passing of Lenora Sellers was absolutely unstoppable in the first half.
Sellers here to Nick Harbor to cover 80 yards.
Right, and the thing about Harbor is that he made that first guy miss, but now all those 180-pound DBs can't catch him. He weighs 235 pounds, Harbor does.
It was 30-3 South Carolina, and then Reed, Nate Borkircher.
It was Reed's arm in the second half that brought him back.
Late fourth quarter, E.J. Smith. This gives the Aggies the lead.
I know, and this is crazy. Down 30-3 at halftime, and all of a sudden, they're ahead.
One last gasp for Lenora Sellers and the Gamecocks, but it's not to be. Texas A&M stealing one from the jaws of defeat, 31-30. Talk about an historic comeback. It's the largest in Aggies history. Entering Saturday, teams were a combined 0-286 when trailing by 27 or more in SEC play since 2004. Not anymore. Wow. Trevor, let's start here. Texas A&M allowed 30 points in the first half, none in the second half. What changed defensively?
You know, it didn't look a lot different from a scheme standpoint for A&M from the first half to the second half. Just being a player, having been in those locker rooms at halftime, it looked to me like the coaches told them that they needed to play better, that they challenged their manhood, because that's what happened in the second half. In the first half, there was all kinds of room to throw, all kinds of time to throw. In the second half, there was absolutely nothing that Lenora Sellers and that offense could do of South Carolina.
Maybe a little salty language thrown in there as well. Meantime, the Aggies scored 3 points in the first half, 28 in the second half. What changed offensively?
What changed was the targeting. Because in the first half, they threw a lot more short passes, averaged about 7.5 yards per throw, which isn't bad, but it's not great. In the second half, they came out and doubled that average per pass attempt. It was 14.9, so about 15, twice as much. They were throwing the ball deep down the field, and that was a hard adjustment at halftime for Texas A&M. I think what they said was, we're not being able to run the ball very well in the first half. In the second half, we probably won't either, but what we're not doing is taking advantage of our speed at wide receiver and our arm strength of our quarterback. Let's give it a try, and that put South Carolina on their heels, and they never were able to recover.
Mike Elko can breathe a sigh of relief. It's the fifth 10-0 start in Texas A&M program history. Speaking of undefeated, the nation's #1, Ohio State, taking on UCLA. Look at this catch by Jeremiah Smith.
He's just showing off. He could have reached up with both hands. You know, he had to kind of hold off a little bit, but that wasn't enough to be a penalty. Nice throw, though, to put it where Smith could do that.
This is where Bryson Rogers is the only one that could catch this from Julian Sayin.
And that's the thing. I mean, Sayin started this game 11 for 11, and he's not just throwing to wide open receivers. He's throwing to tightly covered receivers and putting it into tight windows.
Seconds ago, look at James Peoples.
Oh, and yeah, you know what? Those leaps, it's either going to be a 10 and you stick the landing, or it's going to be an ugly train wreck for you when you try that.
It's been an ugly train wreck for UCLA, down 24-0. Meantime, 147 yards rushing today for Jeremiah Love.
Oh, look at the spin, go! That safety came in and tried to hammer him, right? The worst thing you can do against Jeremiah Love. He is too shifty. He will make you miss.
Notre Dame has won 8 in a row. Meantime, Carson Beck and Miami carved up NC State.
Yeah, they did. The offense was brutally efficient in this game. The defense matched. The NC State offense didn't score a touchdown till garbage time. This was a full team domination.
And then, speaking of domination, how about the line today from Fernando Mendoza? 22 of 24, 299, and 4 touchdowns.
Yeah, Mendoza was fantastic, but mostly in the second half. I mean, you look at that score, they had 7 points at halftime, Indiana did. It was the second half where they really took off.
6 points courtesy of Elijah Davis by his lonesome. The pick 6. And Utah, the 28-17 halftime lead, and we're coming right back.
This halftime report is presented by the refreshing taste of Twisted Tea Hard Iced Tea. Keep it twisted, and please drink responsibly.
Always fascinating when you see the Cowboys and Raiders on Monday Night Football. A good opportunity to check out the Vegas rookie Ashton Genty, Dak Prescott and company in desperation mode. You can catch Peyton and Eli here on ESPN2 Monday night. Trevor Maddich, Texas Tech is now 10-1. They hung 48 today on UCF.
This is a team that's not just Big 12 good. This is a team that has the talent to match up man for man with pretty much anybody in the country from a national championship perspective.
And they've got a stud. That was Jacob Rodriguez, the linebacker, scoring a rushing touchdown. There he is on the INT.
That's right. Well, if you've got a Heisman-worthy defender, how do you get attention to him? You give him the ball on offense and let him score a touchdown.
Domination of UCF. Meantime, Arizona. Noah Fafita and company made the trip to Cincinnati and came away with a win.
That's right. This was absolutely surprising, let's put it that way. Fafita's a really good quarterback, but Brendan Sorsby of Cincinnati is one of the best in the country, and Fafita outdueled him.
Fun second half from Waco on the way.
Welcome back to College Football Primetime, presented by Geico. Let's get into tonight's game track, brought to you by Coca-Cola. 362 total yards of offense for Baylor in the first half, the most that Utah has allowed in the first half since 2022. Welcome back to Waco, Texas. Loa Galindo here with Aaron Murray. And if I were to tell you coming into this matchup that Baylor puts up 362 in the first half, you'd probably say what about the Bears?
Yeah, that they've scored like 30, 40 points. That's a lot of yards in the first half. And guess what? They made so many missed opportunities. They could have had north of 400 yards in the first half. They got to capitalize on them. But let's look at the highlights from the first half. And it starts with Utah. And then defensively, these corners, we knew they were going to be aggressive. Elijah Davis jumps a third down play right there, takes it to the house. And then on the other side, the backup quarterback, Bert Fickman, comes in there, takes one to the house. And then Wayshawn Parker. You want to play a five-man box defensively? Guess what? Ain't enough guys to stop number one. But Baylor won't go away behind number 34, Josh Cameron, with his second touchdown reception of the ball game just before the half ended. This is a game of fireworks, and expect nothing different here in the second half.
Hey guys, talking to Coach Whittingham coming out of the locker room, he said, look, defensively we are not tackling well, we are not defending the deep ball. And then on the offensive side of the football, he says, look, we're getting points on the board, but overall we are not in rhythm. And he said the message to the team is simple as this: 30 minutes, it's the most important.
Introducing Verts. Swipe for news and highlights. Now available on the ESPN app.
Welcome back to ESPN College Football Primetime, presented by Geico. Utes had a 28-10 lead over Baylor. Baylor Athletic Director Mack Rhodes is on a leave of absence amid a university investigation. Earlier this week, he stepped down from his role as the chair of the College Football Playoff Committee for personal reasons. Rhodes told ESPN on Thursday he initiated the leave but declined to say why. Baylor told ESPN's Adam Rittenberg the university received allegations on Monday, but those claims do not involve Title IX, student welfare, NCAA rules, or the football program. Arkansas AD Hunter Yurachek takes over as CFP chair, while Utah AD Mark Harlan assumes the open spot on the committee.
An app.
This is the Big 12 on ESPN. Must-win November game for Utah if they want to keep their hopes for a college football playoff appearance alive. With the win, it would be a 40% chance, according to the All-State playoff predictor. That number has dropped from what it would have been entering today. Loss by Cincinnati does not help the strength of record for Utah. All they can control, though, is what they do here. Ficklin, the pop pass.
All right, Lowell, Kewan Lacey just went over 200 yards rushing. Trevor on his 23rd carry.
And these big plays are what Ole Miss needs to score. They've got a ton of yards, almost 500 in 3 quarters, but they don't have as many points as you would think because they're having to grind too many drives out.
His 24th carry of the night, his second touchdown. He's got 18. It leads the FBS, Lowell.
Rankings brought to you by Goodyear. And this is what the proposed bracket looks like based off the current rankings. See what kind of shakeup we have. It looked like Texas A&M was going to be out of one of those top 4 spots with a 30-3 deficit against South Carolina.
We'll see how far Alabama drops after their loss at home to Oklahoma.
Ficklin and that brings us to our college football headlines presented by Harbor Freight. OU with the win against Bama. Doing it on the road, 3 takeaways. And the biggest comeback win in Texas A&M history. They were down 30-3 against South Carolina. South Carolina couldn't get anything in the second half. And Jeremiah Love and Notre Dame looked apart against Pitt.
We've got an enormous game in the Big Sky underway on the ESPN app. UC Davis, Montana State. The Bobcats unbeaten in Big Sky play. UC Davis 5-1. It's underway on the ESPN app. Lowell, you'll see it next here on ESPN2.
And Alex Smith was his quarterback back in 2004.
They still got more games left, baby. More games left. And it looks like this offense is an absolute terror in the Big 12. A monster win performance by their quarterbacks and running backs and athletes, just athletes in general, that they utilize to dominate the ground game.
Well, Bert Ficklin becomes the first Big 12 quarterback with multiple touchdown runs and at least 60 yards in a game in the last 20 years. And Kyle Whittingham knew that it's got to be win out to have a chance to make the field of 12. His team gets it done. 55-28, the final from Waco. FCS football coming up next on ESPN2.